Does writing your emails, blogs, and launch copy consume all your time? Yeah, you're not alone. You need copy for your business, but you don't need to spend hours doing it. I'm giving you 5 tips to speed up your writing process so you can get in, get it done, and move on.
Being an online business owner is full of ups and downs. Some days you can't imagine going back to your 9 to 5, and other days you want to burn your whole business to the ground. We get it.
Welcome to Chaos to Conversions, a podcast of practical, no BS strategies to grow your online business. Each week, we're chatting about launching, copywriting, mindset, and more, so you can make sense of the chaos and do more of what works.
Join the conversation and let's grow together.
Welcome back to Chaos to Conversions. We're going to be talking today about ways that you can speed up the writing process. This is probably one of the biggest, quote unquote, complaints that I hear from people when it comes to copy. And you know what? I have a similar complaint with my own business sometimes. It just feels like there's so much to write, especially like when you're prepping for a launch and things like that. I totally understand that overwhelm. So I have put together some ideas, ways that I help reduce my own writing, that I talk to my clients about reducing their writing, and I think could benefit you too. So let's dive in. I expect to probably share about 5 or 6 tips unless something else comes to me. And I'd also love to know if there isn't anything I mentioned in this episode that you have found really useful to reduce time spent writing in your business. Head over to Instagram at The Relevant Collective and share it with me. I would love to hear your idea. So let's jump right in with tip number 1, which is to plan ahead. Unfortunately, writing takes way longer when you're making decisions on the spot. Kind of think of it like if you're going to go and cook dinner, right? If you're trying to decide in the moment, like, what do I have in my pantry? What can I make? What would be quick? It's going to take you a lot longer to get started and just get it done and knock it out than if you have prepped your meals for the week and you know, okay, Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. I have all the ingredients ready to go. Writing is the same. When you plan in advance and you know what you're going to be saying, what you need to talk about, it's a lot easier to just get in and get started, and you don't spend so much time spinning your wheels. This is where having a content plan is really helpful. So you can create a path for your emails ahead of time. In episode 55, I talk about quarterly planning and about how it doesn't just keep you on track with your goals, but it makes writing a hell of a lot easier. Because again, you're not sitting down, spinning your wheels, trying to come up with a topic, but you also know how all of the different emails weave in together. You're like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to say this, and that weaves into the next email I have going on Friday, or the one next week. I also, like, on my content calendar, I don't just jot down like the topic, like, oh, okay, this email I'm going to talk about, I don't know, Easter resources, but I'll actually put like a little note to myself of like specifically what I thinking about. And I do that when I sit down with clients too, to plan out their 90 days of content. We'll like jot down little notes and brainstorm together. So again, we're doing a lot of the pre-planning. They don't just sit down and go, okay, Easter, what am I going to say about this? We've had those notes in place. Like, okay, here are the kind of the top performing resources we're going to talk about, or here's a blog post we're going to mention. And it kind of makes that getting started a lot easier. If you're listening to this episode, when it goes live, I will have just kicked off my free event, the Email Roadmap Challenge. It's not too late to join. This is the first day. This is a 3-day event where I'll help you plan your 90 days of content. If you are familiar with my Email GPS workshop, this is basically another version of that, where I break it down into bite-sized pieces so you can accomplish something each day. And I'll be giving way more hands-on support inside of Slack during that 3-day event. You get access to the replays for the whole week. So again, if you get started a little bit late or you join us a little bit late, totally fine. I would love to have you there. Go ahead, head to the show notes and sign up for your free ticket. Okay, tip number 2 for speeding up the writing process is to get feedback. A lot of the time wasted with writing is just second guessing, right? Like you write something down and then you're like, does that sound good? I don't know if that sounds right. I don't know if I said the right thing. If it's interesting enough, there's like all those questions. And then you go into that endless tweaking, writing, rewriting, and hesitating to even publish. That's again a waste of time. So one thing that you can do is share your drafts with a business friend. You can use AI, like pass your copy through AI and ask it to give you strategies and advice. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, depending on how well you've maybe kind of trained your AI or what kind of prompts you're using. And then even better, a more personalized approach that isn't just you relying on a robot and hoping they give you the right advice would be hiring a copy coach. That's what I do inside of the Copy Huddle. So I will actually read through your copy for you and use all the experience that I've had working with other clients and other business owners, learning about different copy, messaging, and psychology and marketing and all those fun things, and give you feedback and say, here's how you can improve the flow. Here's how you can transition better. Here's how we can make it sound more interesting. Here's a story idea, all those kinds of things. So if you're interested in the Copy Huddle, you can check that out also in the show notes. There will be a link there. Tip number 3 is to work with a friend. Oftentimes, for some people, writing alone or working alone in general is just a very slow process. If you're someone like, especially if you have like ADHD or something like that, and you're like body doubling, like working with someone and just having someone near you as you're doing a task really helps you stay focused. This could be a really great tip for you to just quicken the writing process. So having a writing buddy can really help with accountability and just help you make a bit of faster decisions too, because there's someone right there that if you need to ask a question, you're not like waiting for text messages to come back or you're waiting to get feedback on something. You can just ask them as you're writing it. You can do these in person or virtually. So you could just have like a set day each week where you meet up with a buddy, like a writing buddy, or every other week or every month, however you want to do it. Or of course, if you can find someone in person to work with, that's even better. So, like I said, these could be co-working sessions, brainstorming calls, or if you're not able to get on a call with someone, maybe saying, hey, like letting your business friend know, I'm about to sit down for the next hour and write. Can you text me at the end of the hour or in 30 minutes and just to like remind me that you're there and kind of, again, give me that accountability, like you're still writing, right? In case I've got distracted. So kind of pairing up with a business friend might be a good way to do that. Tip number 4 is to reuse old emails. I've said this before and I'll say it again, but repurposing means spending less time. I talk about this a lot when I mention welcome sequences. If you've listened to any of the episodes I've done on welcome sequences in the past, I talk about how I repurpose my own emails into my welcome sequences because I do recommend having unique sequences for each freebie, and that can become a lot to write. Write on emails that you've written, especially if you've been doing email marketing for quite a while now. And I mean, quite a while, like a year or more. Some of you have been doing this for years. You have tons of emails that you've written. Go back through and find something that you can repurpose and tweak. An easy way to do that, if you're kind of looking to make repurposing easier in the future, I like to have a Google Doc for each year that I write my emails. So I have like a 2025 weekly emails Google Doc. And then obviously the emails go inside of there by month. I have a tab for each month. Well, tabs are kind of new in Google. So I recently added a tab for each month. Before I just had like little headers. And then I have a box that goes before each email that has like the topic of the email with the subject lines that I'm using and then the preview text. So it's really easy for me to kind of peruse and the little table of contents on the side looking for an email of a certain topic. Or I can go into the search bar and I can type in like welcome sequences, retainers, and I can find an email that I've written about one of those things. So it just makes it a lot easier. I'm not having to go inside of ConvertKit and search for those emails. That is like a pain in the butt to do. Don't recommend that. So having them inside of a Google Doc or something like that that you can search will make it easier. So another reason to repurpose emails, not just because it makes writing a lot quicker because you've already done the hard work in the past, but people do need to hear things multiple times anyways. So why not reuse some of the messaging and copy that you've already written? There is a reason that those really persistent, annoying ads exist. It's because people need to see things again and again before they often, take action or they buy something. So that's kind of an easy way to cut down on writing time. Another tip is to try some alternative methods. So sometimes the way that we think we have to write is actually what's slowing us down. A lot of us have watched people in masterminds or business friends or gotten advice from people who've done business before. Maybe we've seen how copywriters are writing, and we're trying to model that. But hopefully, as you've seen through some of these tips that I have shown you today, so for example, using a buddy to help motivate you, getting feedback on something from a friend, we all have different methods that are going to work for us. I'm sharing a couple tips, but some of these may just not be your groove. Think outside the box a bit. One thing, or a couple things, but specifically starting the first one thing that I would recommend trying is like speech to text. If you're someone who's like a verb processor, if you struggle to just get something down and get started, speech to text might be really helpful. So you can just start talking. Like, what do you want to say in this email? Talk it out, have your phone or have Google Docs. I feel like Google Docs or speech to text isn't always the best. But like maybe on your phone, you can just type it out on like a little notes app and just let out the thoughts that you're thinking. And then you can go in and clean it up. And that might be a quicker way to get started. Maybe not. For you, you might find that actually is a little too messy. That's okay, but it might be a strategy you try just to see. Another is just word vomit first and then editing later. So instead of overthinking, like, I don't know how to start this, I don't know what story to use, blah, 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 just start writing. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but it's just like word vomit. Like, what is the thing you want to say? Okay, I'm just going to start saying it, even if it's imperfect, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't sound good. I'm just going to start getting it out. This was actually something that I use personally whenever I'm writing copy and I'm getting really stuck on something to say for a client. I'm like, I'm just going to start going, even though I know this first draft is going to not be great. It's something that I used to tell my students a lot whenever I was an English teacher. And it's something that like authors use themselves. Like there is no such thing as a perfect first draft. And I feel like so many of us put the pressure on ourselves that when we write an email, it needs to be great the first time that we write it. Like everything that goes on the page the first time has to be used. That's not true. Just get it out, just get started. And then you can tweak and, add things in as you go through and read and edit. Of course, that doesn't mean you need to spend hours reading and editing, but it's just a lot easier to edit when you already have like the basics of what you want to say. Another method you could try is using templates or getting like an outline for something. There are a lot of like copy templates out there, email templates. So having a fill in the blank template and then again, revising from there might help you. Another thing that I'll do sometimes that helps me with writing when I'm feeling a bit stuck and in my head, maybe having a bit of, writer's block, is that I will kind of like pace around my house or like go on a walk. Or if it's at night, I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready for bed and no, tomorrow I need to write an email. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in the shower. I'm just going to like think about some things that I might be able to say in this email. And then I'll just jot down notes inside of my phone app. Obviously a little bit hard to do while you're in the shower, but I'll just try to keep a couple things in my mind to go and jot them down. But a lot of times I kind of do the work on like the background. So I'm on my walk. I'm not like consciously trying to like map out this email in my head. I'm just walking, but kind of thinking about it in the background, if that makes sense. And then an idea might come to me and I could maybe use this story and I'll jot that down. Just kind of like getting out of that normal routine. If sitting at your desk and staring at the Google Doc isn't cutting it for you, it's killing your creativity. Get up, move around, go outside, and try to not force the words out and just let your brain process first. Take a little bit of a brain break, and then usually sitting down to write, you can get something out a lot quicker. At least in my experience, that has been the case. But again, maybe that doesn't work for you. Okay, tip number 6, and the last tip that I have is hiring someone. Of course, one way to write faster is to simply pass it off to someone else. There is a common misconception with a lot of people who reach out to me. They're like, I actually like writing, so I don't necessarily feel like I need to have a copywriter. A lot of my clients actually don't hate writing. I've had many, many clients that come to me who like actually enjoy writing for their email list, but it is something they don't necessarily have time for. And when they have to decide, where do I want to spend my time in my business? Is it writing my weekly emails? Is it writing my launch copy? Is it writing my welcome sequence? You don't even have to pass out all your copy, right? It could just be a particular project. It is easier sometimes just to pass it off to someone else, give them that project and let them spend their time on it, that you can spend your time elsewhere. So I know that's kind of like maybe a trick answer of like how to spend less time is just don't spend the time and hire someone else to do it. But it is an option. And again, you don't have to have someone on retainer. You can have someone that you just hire on a project basis. Or if you are ready to pass it off on retainer, that's obviously a possibility. If you're looking for a copywriter to help you, I, of course, work on both a retainer and I do one-off projects that can help you with your weekly emails, your blog post, your welcome sequences, your other email sequences, like abandoned cart sequences, onboarding emails, launch copy, and so much more. And I would love to help you. So head to the show notes and you can submit an inquiry or check out my website and my packages. So a quick recap on this episode. I wanted this to be short, simple, sweet, and I hope it was. What we've talked about is if writing feels like it's taking forever, remember that you can plan ahead, create that content plan so you're not sitting down and trying to come up with an idea the moment it's time to write. You can get feedback on your work so you're not sitting there redrafting everything in your head for hours or on paper. You can work with a friend, team up, have some accountability sessions, reuse what you already have by repurposing old emails and copy. You can also try some new methods like just word vomiting, getting it out on paper, using speech to text. And of course, you can hire someone. if you're interested in getting one-on-one copy support. So if you do want to take over the writing and do the writing yourself, but you'd love to have someone offer advice on how to improve it and help convert better, the Copy Huddle is the place for you. If you go to the link in bio, you can find some information there about what the Copy Huddle includes. And with the code podcast, you'll get $50 off your first month. But the really big feature of the Copy Huddle is our weekly audits. So that's where you're actually submitting your copy. And I go through each one, each person's individually, and offer specific advice to that person. It's not like a group project, right? Or like a group meeting. I'm looking at every single person's, writing comments, making little videos, and walking them through how they can improve their copy. I'd love to have you inside.
Thanks so much for joining the conversation today. If you want to learn more about how we can work together on email marketing, launch copy, or content planning, head to therelevantcollective.com. I'll meet you back here next Tuesday for more practical strategies to take your business from chaos to conversions.